Hi everybody, this is Craig Tanner for The Mindful Eye and the Daily Critique. Today's image was created by Alex, who's an intermediate photographer from New Zealand. Alex shot this with a Canon 5D Mark II, a 100 to 400 zoom at 400 millimeters, so extremely long telephoto shot here. Exposure information is ISO 200 and f/5.6 and 1/15 of a second. Alex submitted this image for the Mindful Eyes community assignment, which was titled Looking Down. Looking Down was the concept. He said he immediately thought of this statuary, this angel, as a subject matter when he saw the assignment. He said when he went out to shoot, it was raining, took advantage of that and shot a whole series of images with the tears seemingly coming out of the angel's eyes. So very powerful layer of story there. In the backstory and questions and comments, Alex said it wasn't until he got home that he started to notice some strong archetypal shapes and forms on the angel's wing out of focus in the background. So this is the wing back here, and these are the shapes he's talking about. He said that made him wonder if he should have stopped down even more than f/5.6 to bring this more into focus. And so I just want to sort of answer that question right off the bat. You'll see me actually blur that area even more in a minute. I think that it's so strong as a suggestion already that it could almost be competing with the main subject. And I think making that a very subtle counterpoint to the face of the angel would work better than making it sharper. And I think just getting it sharper is really going to start to compete on a lot of different levels with the main subject. So I'd probably go in the other direction. I'm really enjoying the shallow depth of field, just the way that Alex has submitted the image right now. In addition to loving the subject matter, the framing here, working with the rain instead of that becoming a problem, just using that to create a really beautiful layer of story. I mean, in a lot of ways, this is the main subject of the whole image. In addition to that, I really like the flow of light here. There's a beautiful feeling of light that comes in on a highlight side and shaded side, so there's quite a bit of dimension in the face and the head of the angel. There's also some really beautiful subtle color that's happening here, sort of the difference between magenta and green, and I think that's really beautiful in the image. This is an image where right when I looked at it, I had a thought about tilting the camera slightly. The head of the angel and the face is so straight up and down here, and this line in particular, the line of the nose, starts to create a feeling of static energy. This is all these lines over here are moving in a very powerful way, and so are the positive and negative space shapes. And you have all of this circular movement. You have this dynamic feeling of the eye and of the mouth, and the lines there are also moving. And then all of a sudden, this is sort of a hard line for me. And one of the takeaways from the video today is something I'd really encourage you to do when you're photographing a person or a statuary like this, is to shoot a whole series of shots to start off with where you slightly rotate the camera on its axis. And so you're just shooting and going off of sea level to the right and then back to the left, and see if any of those off angle or Dutch angle, which is a cinema term, shots appeal to you. And it may really help you just getting a little bit of a tilt in there to make things more dynamic. I just, in a very rough way, first rotated face of the angel, and then once I did that, I noticed something else. In the original capture, so much energy draws you all the way down here, and then the bottom of the chin is on tangent with a corner, a very powerful place, and that also starts to become to me an energy sticking point. And so after I did the rotation, I came in and I cloned under the chin to create a negative space down there, and this is what we've done so far. And for me, I really like the way now that I move on that diagonal. There seems to be a little bit more of a play back and forth in these directions in the image, where before I felt like I was moving over here and then hitting a hard stop and getting stuck. And creating some negative space at the bottom of the chin down here. There's such a strong pull down there to be able to sort of come around and imagine the other side of the face. And also just thinking about visual unity. These shapes are so visually powerful, and I'm constantly looking at visually powerful shapes and then looking across from them on diagonals to see if there's something that can bring me back. And with the chin on tangent with the corner, before doing that cloning and coming back to the original shot, the mind's eye just sort of stops down there and gets trapped. And for me, these two changes go a long way to creating more visual movement in the image. I'd love to hear what you think about that part of the critique. From here, I really wanted to create more mood. I really wanted to come in with some layer adjustments, curves. You see them up here. And mainly use curves to accentuate more of the eye. And so I'm just going to go through these pretty quick. Came in and lowered contrast and darkened. Just did that using curves. Then I came in and I darkened even more. And then again, another curves adjustment. And I opened up the shadow over here just a little bit. You know, we could continue to darken this, but sometimes you can open up an area and that will change the balance of things. And that was the thinking here. And the truth of the matter is, you know, now that I've gone through this and now I'm recording the video, I don't like that layer anymore, and I'm just going to leave it off. I mentioned the green and magenta in the beginning, and this is the kind of image for me where I would either push that more or I would go to pure black and white. Right now it's so close, so I would either go in that direction, and which I like quite a bit because I like color and I love green and magenta as complementary color pairs. And to me, if you get back from the monitor and look at this, the color to me gives it another level of information if we make it a little bit more dynamic and make green and sort of that magenta or burgundy, a light burgundy, a place that you go to. So I'd either do that or I would just go to straight black and white. I just don't really like that sort of subtle in between. And I think I like both of these almost the same. It's a very, very different feeling. I think if you were going for just more of an emotional response from the viewer, that just the straight black and white would work better. And then, like I said, I would blur the background even more. And that's what I've done on that layer. So this is where we started, and this is where we've ended up. I'd love to hear what you think about the critique today and the changes that we made. This is a stunning image. It's really beautiful. This is what I love about assignments and concepts. When we give ourselves an assignment, and in the most basic sense, it just gives us permission to be creative. Alex, in a much longer backstory, has basically said this is a location he's been to a bunch of times before. And the assignment maybe gives him permission to go back and see this in a different way. I haven't even mentioned this, but I love the unconventional cropping and just shooting part of the face, particularly with the story of the tear, makes that very, very powerful. Really beautiful image. I want to say a huge thank you to Alex for sharing it with us on the Mindful Eye's Daily Critique. Hope to see you again real soon on the Mindful Eye.